Hey, family. What's up, YouTube? Another day to get better. The topic of today's video is developing empathy. So, empathy is the ability to understand, share, and experience the feelings and thoughts of another person. So, basically, walking in their shoes and seeing the world from their perspective. Developing empathy is the topic. Okay, so most people who have no empathy shut off their own feelings of fear, shame, pain, confidence, and joy. When you shut off painful feelings, you also lose the ability to experience positive feelings. For you to develop empathy, or for us to develop empathy, we must learn to feel and accept our own powerlessness. Accepting it means being willing to know it exists and to feel it. When we accept our feelings of fear, powerlessness, and inadequacy, we will be able to feel the pain of others. When we accept painful feelings, we will more fully experience joy and happiness too. We can only empathize with feelings we are willing to experience ourselves. If we are unwilling to feel shame, we cannot empathize with someone else's shame. So it says to think back to your criminal offense and what you did to your victims. So this is information and materials that I was giving as a program that I took for my 5th drunk driving, and it was a pretty intense program. So it wants me to think back, and it says maybe you felt remorse, guilt, or shame after you committed the crime. If so, those feelings could be the start of empathy. Another way to start learning empathy is to imagine a time when we felt terrible. It may have been when we were beaten up, arrested, or went bankrupt. Perhaps we were sexually or physically victimized when we were young. Whatever it is or was, it says to allow ourselves to remember the intensity of those feelings. Still, another way is to imaging we are a victim of a crime. Think about the old feelings we had and allow them to become stronger. Victims, so this must have been part of victim awareness and becoming aware of the effects that our crimes were having on the victims. Victims feel intensely. No matter how intensely painful or sorrowful or depressed we are about our crime as an offender, our victims felt and still feel worse. The focus of empathy is not how we feel, it's how others feel. The only way we can understand the depth of their feelings is to feel deeply ourselves and then put ourselves in the other person's place. Think of how we would feel if we were experiencing what they are experiencing. Feeling empathy is not about giving up power and control in our life. It takes a strong person to care about others, to feel what they feel, and to be aware enough to want to help. It does not mean indulging in pity. Feeling sad for someone else's misfortune is a form of empathy. Feeling sorry for ourselves is self-pity. Self-pity keeps us from looking at the effects of our crimes or our negative behavior, however you want to phrase it to fit your specific situation. It enables us to continue our deviant behavior. So self-pity keeps us from looking at the effects of our behavior. It enables us to continue our deviant behavior. Self-pity does not help us change. It encourages us to blame others for our misfortune. When we are wrapped up in self-pity, we focus on what we don't like and how everyone else is better off. We use it to feed our anger and greed instead of making productive changes. Self-pity blocks empathy. It says, note, disgust about crime is an appropriate and realistic feeling for an offender. Being disgusted with the pain we have caused and the people we have affected is a step in the right direction. Okay, so disgust about our behavior is an appropriate and realistic feeling. Being disgusted with the pain we have caused and the people we have affected is a step in the right direction. But it works only when we can use this feeling to motivate ourselves to change. Without a commitment to change, being disgusted with ourselves is another form of self-pity. And it only feeds our deviant, self-defeating cycle. One way to demonstrate our empathy and care is to contribute to a local agency that helps victims. Giving money to help victims get counseling or donating time to a community service project without expecting a pat on the back for it shows that we care about our victims' future. Empathy is thinking before we act. At times, we will be overwhelmed with anger, upset, or discouraged feelings. When we are in a bad mood, it's easy to lash out at whoever is handy, dumping our feelings on them regardless of who they are or what they've done. Before we lash out, stop. Take a moment to think about the other person before we act. When we faced someone in a bad mood, how did we feel when they dumped on us? How do we wish they had talked to us? Learning to think of the other person before dumping our feelings is one way to develop empathy. So suppose a peer is angry with us and feels his anger is justified. Try to put ourselves in his place and think about the situation from his perspective. Imagine for a moment that we completely understand and agree with his anger. How do we think our behavior looks through his eyes? If we were the peer, how would we want to be treated? How do we want others to talk to us? Think about how we would like to receive feedback. Practice getting feedback with the next person you meet. Rather than dumping something negative, how about offering something positive to someone we are in contact with? Consider how one kind of pleasant gesture a day might affect another person. How about offering a sincere compliment to someone? How about a simple, kind deed like holding a door or assisting with carrying packages? How might that affect the other person's day? Instead of complaining about having to wait for a clerk, maybe empathize with that person and comment on what a hectic day it seems to be for that person. Let them know you see them as a person and not just part of the machinery. What effect does this have? There are a million opportunities to practice empathy each day. Enhancing empathy. Treatment is about never again having victims or being in trouble with the legal system. One way to achieve these goals is to learn to feel what it feels like to be a victim. Learning to feel what others feel is called empathy. Have you ever identified with a character in a movie? If you did, it was probably because the character was expressing something that touched your emotions. Maybe you felt the same pain as the character. You felt as if you knew what it was like to be the character. understanding how someone else feels is called empathy. People who are in pain yet go out of their way to help others probably do so out of empathy. They know how the other person feels and want to help. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to see the world through their experience and experience what they are experiencing. Learning to feel empathy doesn't happen overnight. You have to develop it by practicing over and over, just as you have to do push-ups over and over to develop muscles. You can learn empathy by feeling deeply and paying close attention to the feelings of others. You need to pay attention to their words, gestures, body language. Be sharp and aware. Take a moment to think about something that happened to you in the past that was hurtful, unpleasant, and saddening. If you wanted someone to help you and understand your feelings, what you wanted from them was empathy. When you care about someone, you are more likely to feel empathy for them. When you empathize with your significant other or friend, you understand how they feel. If you really knew and cared about what your victims felt before, during, and after your crimes, you would not have committed them. Some offenders employ inflicting pain on other people because it makes them feel powerful. By inflicting pain, the offender can make someone else feel feelings he doesn't want. Other offenders, for example, rapists who believe the myth that women enjoy rape, or pedophiles who say they really love children, choose not to recognize or accept that their behavior causes emotional, spiritual, and or physical pain in their victims. If the offender understood how much pain he caused to people he says he cares about, he would stop these behaviors. Caring and empathy go together. You feel affection, warmth, sympathy, and kindness when you really care for someone, and you can imagine how things feel to them. You can feel empathetic with them. True empathy is feeling care and concern for people, whether you know them or not. It is a concern for life and respect for others and their lives. Empathy does not exclude strangers. Share with others. When you are feeling lonely and depressed, sad or discouraged, down and frustrated, take the time to talk with others. The more you share your emotions and thoughts with good people, who can be found everywhere, even in a maximum security prison, the more they will share with you. Of course, it is important to think carefully and honestly about how to choose supportive companions with whom you can share. Sharing leads to understanding and develops empathy. When you share your feelings and thoughts with an empathetic person, you learn how others respond. Think about what your most supportive friends do to help you feel understood. What do they say? How do they reassure you? What do they do to show they care about you? See what is helpful for you and then use this experience to support and help others. Note, empathy is not the same as enabling. An enabler may support everything you do even when it is unhealthy or criminal. People with empathy understand your feelings and at the same time give you honest feedback that holds you accountable for your actions. You cannot develop empathy when you withdraw from people. You must be involved with people. Living in a vacuum leaves you empty, despairing, and suspicious. Isolation can kill empathy. As you reach out and begin to connect with your community, you will develop friendships and meaningful relationships, and people will begin to feel more comfortable and trusting of you. When this starts to happen, remember it takes time. People may come to you for help of one kind or another. They may just need someone to listen to them talk. They may want more substantial help. Take the time to learn to help and be a source of comfort for someone. Practice care and concern for others. So that's a little bit of information on empathy, what it is, and how to develop it, and what it isn't. But I just wanted to take the time to expose you to some information that I was exposed to that had a positive impact in the way that I behaved in life, so that it may help you. Keep pushing forward. Never give up. Just because we've done something our whole life does not mean we have to continue to keep doing it. Another day to get better. God bless you, and see you in the next video.